Hello everybody, I'm back with the daily puzzle for beginners challenge. So let's have a look at the puzzle from last video. So this was black to play and checkmate in 2 moves. Well, let's see how we can do this. So the first thing we want to look at are the checks, captures, threats. That's the main thing we always look at in a position, especially in a puzzle. So let's see. I can see a lot of moves in this position. The first thing you notice when you look at this position is when you're black, your king on g8 is safe, and his king on b1 is in a bit of strife, for example, with all our pieces staring down. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what moves black has. So for the checks, he has rook a1, knight d2, and knight c3. For the captures and threats, captures, queen takes, and that's pretty much it. For the threats, b2, knight c4, knight f2. There's many moves for threats, and we should go through most of them. Okay, so let's start with the check, or the moves that we can easily disregard. Okay, so let's start with knight c3 check. Well, if knight c3 check, now this queen takes c3, and the point being, now the queen is defending the knight, and we just gave away our knight for free. And in fact, black is still winning after bishop takes, but I won't show you why just yet, but we'll come back to this line and I will show you. But it's not checkmate isn't as fast, and that's not what we want, of course. Knight d2 is pretty much the same story. It's just the same free knight. You don't need to do it, but it's still completely winning. Okay, so queen takes d5. Now this is a move that you always look at. Free pawn, looks good. Black is of course still winning. He still has these lethal pieces. He still has his bishop staring down at the king. His other rook can come in. All his pieces, apart from this knight, but it's going to come in soon too, are attacking this white king. And white's defense, all his pawns are gone, and he doesn't have much of a defense left. Alright, so this is still winning, but it's not the quickest way to win, as is the case for many moves. Now knight c5. This is pretty much the same. White can play like bishop takes, king b2, but there's nothing he can do. For example, here, king here, and it's going to be checkmate soon, and we'll see why in the coming lines. Here, rook a2, for example, this is checkmate. Let's quickly go through that line a bit slower. So the point is only move, king b4, because the other squares are guarded. King b2, now rook a2 check, giving a check, only these two squares. Now if king takes, queen a4 check, the only move is here, queen c4. And if king c3, for example, queen a5 must be good, but the crushing move is queen d5. And we have the same threat of queen c4 checkmate. And white doesn't have a way of stopping it. And black wins the game. But obviously, it's not the quickest way to win. We have checkmate in 2. No need to make it any longer. Don't make it complicated. Find the win, play it, end the game, and you can rest earlier. Alright, so how about b2? Now this one looks interesting. Attacking the rook, attacking the knight. Now, if knight takes, this is actually a very brilliant move. Actually, there's 2, both completely crushing. Now this is a very common theme in many chess positions. It's called a discovered attack. You move one piece out of the way to give check with another piece. So I move the knight out of the way to somewhere to give check. That's a discovery check. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. Many of you have heard of it. Now in this position, there's also something called double checks, which I'm also sure many have heard of it. It's giving check with two pieces at the same time. And double checks usually come from discovery checks. And double check, you can play knight to d2 check. So you're giving check with the bishop and you're giving check with the knight. And when it comes to double checks, when you come to CPR, capture, protect, and run away, well, he can't capture because there's two pieces giving check. If you take the knight, the bishop is still giving check. And you can't block either with protect because it's check from two ways. And the only thing you can do is run away. And in this position, unfortunately for white, all the squares are guarded. Alright, so b2. But obviously, he doesn't have to allow this. He can play like bishop b2. Sure, he's still completely lost, for example, after the simple rook takes knight. But you have a quicker win, made in 2. You don't need to allow this. When you have a win, just play it, find it, play it, and end the game. I've seen many positions, many situations when I was playing in tournaments that people try to get fancy or people miss the straight win and rush because they're in a winning position. They relax, rush it, and try to just move. Like, I'm winning. I can't really lose. It's easy. It's fine. But what happens is people after this they relax, and then a few moves later, before they know it, they're losing or the win is gone. They're not winning anymore. And that's precisely why you have to stay alert at all times when you're playing a chess game. Alright, so b2 is obviously, so all these moves I'm showing you are brilliant, are great. They should all win. But there's a faster way. And there's also you might have thought, oh, my bishop can here. So if I get my knight out of the way, wouldn't that be brilliant? So for example, knight c5. Can't I do this knight c5? Or can I do this knight c5? Obviously, this one is also killer. If here we have probably the simplest here. Knight takes, double check, and there's probably a bunch of ways to win. Probably here too. There is a lot of ways to win. For example, mate is around the corner. Now, obviously, I won't go into detail into that line, but this is obviously checkmate. Alright. Any other moves you might have looked at? Like maybe making a threat with queen a6. Sure, this is great too, but like I said, it's not really necessary. Like he can defend it, right? He can just play knight here, defend it. Sure, we're still completely crushing, but like wasting a move, is it necessary? Once again, using the long diagonal. Sure, this is completely winning, completely crushing. He has no chance. Bishop d3 is probably completely winning. White has no chance at all. No chance at all. But quickest accuracy is always important. Even if you know it's winning, try and find the quickest way to win. It's not only good because you can save time, but it's also good when it comes to other games. Sometimes you have to find one move. If you don't find that move, you lose. So trying to be as accurate as possible is always good. Alright, so let's get to the answer. We should always look at checks, and the answer is rook a1. So he can't go to any of these squares. Well, the king can go to b2. The king can go to b2. But other than that, there's no squares. Alright, so let's see. So there's two moves I can see. Bishop takes and king b2. Let's look at both. So if bishop takes, we have queen to a2 checkmate. And unfortunately for white, all his pieces are in the way, and he has no squares to go since these are controlled by this queen. Now, what's the point of rook a1? Well, the point is to get rid of the rook in front of the queen so that we can bring the queen in. And we're also bringing the bishop here to control that square. Now, what if he plays king b2? Well, if he plays king b2, there's a few checks. Rook a2. Well, now we can just go back, and that's sort of wasting time. But the crushing mate is queen a2, checkmate. And this position doesn't look very pretty for white. Let's look at the puzzle for today. This is white to play and checkmate in 2 moves. Good luck solving the puzzle, my friends, and if you're enjoying my videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell button. Until the next video, bye-bye everybody.